Post-match chat with chaps for that Millwall podcast. Brett finished at the Den. Millwall 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Another win at the Den. That's now 5 wins out of 6 and a very impressive 16 points out of 18 for Neil Harris. In what has become a fortress now, being back at the Den. Who thought we would have been saying that this time earlier on in the season? Still yet to concede in open play at home. That's now 23 points from 12 games for Neil Harris. Brings up the 56-point mark for us. And we are now currently 9 points clear of the relegation zone, which is just absolutely fantastic. And was it the greatest game yesterday? No. Did we deserve to win? Probably just. But look, it doesn't matter. And, you know, to finish off the season in that fashion with another fairly late goal, another goal for Jake Cooper in what was supposedly a sellout Den. There was a lot of empty seats, I felt, but it was a great spectacle. Unfortunately, the weather, I think, plays a part, doesn't it? You know, you expect to be end of April out in the sun, but wasn't quite meant to be. But a great day all round, another win, and just you know, it was really nice at the end also to give thanks to Bart. So massive thank you to him for his last 5 years. Again, to really show our appreciation for JB and that his legacy will live on. And then, of course, for the end of season awards for, in my opinion, a very worthy winner in Ryan Leonard. So, yeah, lots to talk about, but just another absolutely fantastic day down at the Den. And I said to the missus when I got home last night, I was like, we won again. This is it's a weird feeling. You know, we've only lost 3 games under Harris. It's such a weird feeling to this winning malarkey. It gets boring, doesn't it? But anyway, let's get into it as we always do. And in terms of the lineup, so I wasn't surprised with the lineup. Would I have wanted to see more youngsters come in? Maybe. But I also think it's important that we finish on a high. I do. There was no reason to put our home form and the form that Neil Harris has got us going. I personally wouldn't have wanted to have jeopardised that. Plymouth are a team that don't travel well. I believe in now 23 away games, they've only won 3 times. So, you know, I did fancy us yesterday, and I think we were 23-20, which I thought was a bit odd. I don't normally back Millwall, but I did yesterday. But Stoke and Southampton game let me down. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But so I wasn't particularly surprised. I felt that Harris would also try and keep the integrity of the league and actually go and try and win the game. I probably would have expected a few more players on the bench, maybe, and for some of those to get minutes. But it wasn't meant to be. The 2 changes made then were Duncan Watmore coming in for George Honeyman, and then the other change was Tom Bradshaw coming in for Michael Obafemi. From Plymouth's perspective, you know, they came into the game on 48 points. At home, they're a very good side. Obviously, I know we beat them away from home, but they're a good side. They beat Leicester not so long ago. And I think Plymouth have got some really good players. I think they've actually got some very tidy players. I rate their goalkeeper, Cooper. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I rate their kind of right-hand side with Barley Mumba and Bundu down the right-hand side. 2 very good signings in the summer. I think Norwich letting Barley Mumba go are, you know, very odd, but they're decent players. I like Morgan Whittaker, although he was fairly quiet yesterday. And then Joe Edwards in the middle of the park's not a bad player. So they've got some decent players. And I would imagine if they do go down, there'll be some of those that will be back in the Championship next season. I would imagine Morgan Whittaker will be at least in the Championship next season. So some decent players. And I felt that they would cause us problems. The reality is, I don't think they did. I don't. They had 1 half-decent chance from Bundu in the first half. We're going to get into all that in a minute. But if I was a Plymouth fan, I'd be very disappointed with the performance. I just felt that it was almost the other way around. It was almost like us trying to play for the win, whereas Plymouth just seemed very happy to take a point, and ultimately shot themselves in the foot. So our lineup anyway. So in goal, Sarkic. I did think we might see Bart even for 5-10 minutes, given it was his farewell. We didn't. We did see Hutch though. Although it's not been announced, I'm wondering whether he's going to be here next season. It was odd for him to come on for the last few minutes, so my suspicion is that he'll be moving on. But back four, Ryan Leonard, right back, Danny Mack, left back, Jake Cooper and Japhet Tanganga, centre halves. Centre midfield, Casper Denor kept his place. Billy Mitchell has been out ill. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't know if Billy's well enough yet, but Casper, I think he does need a run of games. And had a good game, actually, yesterday. Again, we'll talk more about player ratings, but I thought we had a decent game, particularly the second half. George Saville, and then Fleming, Duncan Watmore, Mr. Longman on the right-hand side, although they did keep switching, and then Tom Bradshaw as a set up front. First half, it wasn't the best game to watch. There was a few chances which I'll talk through now. We had a couple of half chances. There was a Longman cross that kind of almost found its way in, but didn't. There was a very tame effort from Watmore, swiveled and shot from sort of a second phase of a corner. Their best chance of the overall game was they break on 23 minutes. Whitaker releases Bundu. He goes inside Danny Mack, outside Danny Mack, manages to get his shot away. Danny Mack and Jake Cooper throwing their bodies towards it, but he manages to get his shot in, and it sort of hits Sarkic in the chest. It's a decent save, good positioning from Sarkic, but in reality, that was their best chance of the first half and probably the whole game. They kept swapping wingers. We had a few different sort of free kicks and corners, but nothing really came to it. Probably our other best chance of that first half was a shot from Ryan Leonard from distance that Cooper saved comfortably. Not much happened in that first half in reality. And as I say, it came across to me that Plymouth were very happy to just play for a point. I found it interesting that Wayne started up front, not Hardy. Reading Plymouth forums, I think he's coming for a bit of criticism recently, Ryan Hardy, but he's a workhorse and he's not a bad player. And I was surprised that Wayne, who I thought was largely ineffective, played over Ryan Hardy. But yeah, the first half kind of petered out. Not really much happened. I felt we missed Obafemi in that first half. I just felt that without his pace, we were quite one-dimensional in the first half. I didn't think we could look to play to get beyond. We don't have that kind of pace, and just that worry that he carries, knowing that if a ball's played over the top, he's very likely to get there. So I did feel that we missed Obafemi. That is something that we're going to have to solve for in the summer. I haven't heard Harris's post-match interview, but I've seen some quotes, and he's alluded to the fact we need to strengthen that department. I think let's get it right. As much as we would probably like Obafemi, there's more chance of Fleming and Obafemi being the front two for Burnley next season than there is for Obafemi to be here. And that's nothing to do with a lack of ambition from the club. It's purely down to the fact that Obafemi would cost millions to sign, and I believe he's on around 40 grand a week, which is never going to sign him. And that is where we are. And he's played a role, and I would imagine that's probably why he started with Bradshaw yesterday, Harris, and Nisbet came on. So that was the first half. I went down for a pint on 40 minutes because there was not really much happening. And by the way, complete side note, right? And listen, I don't criticise the club because I know how hard it is to get things right, and I know how easy it is to slag the club off. But yesterday, and this is something that I've noticed a few times, and I just want to, probably no one's listening, but the queue to get a pint at half time, and I went down on 40 minutes, so I didn't go down at half time. I actually didn't get served till a couple of minutes before the end of the half. And I don't blame the staff there. I feel like they're working as hard as they can, but ultimately, just get 20, 30 pints lined up, half fill them, and then just top them up. I don't know if they're not allowed to do that. I don't know, or just have one or two more behind the jump just to help out. I don't know. It doesn't feel like rocket science, but there's just these little small tweaks that could be made. So I do get my beer in the end, and had a good chat with a few people. Rob, if you're listening, good to chat to you yesterday, mate. yeah, then I sort of go back up at sort of 50-minute mark, and I felt the game really sparked into life on around sort of 57. And this, what I'm about to talk about, epitomises our player of the year. So the ball is played through, and I've watched this back so many times because I cannot get over how good a tackle this is. The ball's played through, and Morgan Whittaker is through on goal. He's not slow, Morgan Whittaker, but Ryan Leonard, he's coming from the wrong side. He's coming from the left side of the player. He's coming from behind him, puts the afterburners on, accelerates. Morgan Whittaker enters the penalty box. He's probably just about to trigger. To me, that's a goal, knowing the form that Morgan Whittaker's in. And the tackle is just outstanding. It is as good as, if not better than, the one he did against Obafemi, incidentally, for Swansea last season, or was it season before? It is just excellent to come from the wrong side of the player, to come from behind the ball, come across the player, time it to perfection. And then not only that, he keeps the ball and retains it, and we carry on playing. It is just, honestly, it is outstanding. That is a top draw tackle from Ryan Leonard. You know, that and the moment against Birmingham where you know, he kicked the ball onto himself and sprinted 30 yards to win that free kick to see us out. Those things, and just the fact that there hasn't been a winger all season that's got the better of him. He fouled Jack Clark for the penalty against Sunderland at home, but it wasn't a penalty. So I'm not even going to say that Jack Clark got the better of him. No winger has. And if he'd played in that position all season and remained fit, he wouldn't have done, because he plays for Millwall. But in my opinion, he should have been the Championship Team of the Year. He has been that good at right back. And Harris deserves a lot of credit, because whilst Leonard has played and filled in on the right-hand side, whether it's right wing back or right back of a three, when we had Rowett and Leonard, to put him permanently at right back, he has to take a lot of credit. Leonard should, in my opinion, never play in centre midfield again, because I don't think he's anywhere near as good. It's no coincidence he got a lot of injuries when he was playing in centre mid. But at right back, he's the best right back in the league. I'm sorry, I fundamentally believe that. He has been outstanding, and he quite rightly won Player of the Year. In my opinion, the order that it was in, which was Honeyman third, Saville runner-up, and obviously Leonard winning the Player of the Year, I think that was absolutely correct. I think that was the right three players in the right order for me. But yeah, gone on a little bit about Leonard there. But we actually end up breaking from this, and the ball finds its way on the right-hand side to Casper Denor, who finds himself on the right-hand side. And then he plays a really good ball into the box. It's low, driven into Bradshaw's feet, and Bradshaw goes just over the bar. I think it went for a corner, actually, but a really, or was it saved? I'm not sure. There was one with Watmore in a moment as well, but you know, really good move. Again, breaking from that tackle was just outstanding. We then have another really good chance on 67. Longman feeds Denor again down the right-hand side. And Denor had a really good half. Some really good balls from Denor. He actually created another chance on 61, but it came to nothing. But on 67, Denor whips a superb ball in, and it's very similar to the ball that Longman put in for Watmore against Sunderland. And Watmore, unfortunately, this occasion just lifts it just over the bar. That was our best chance of the game, obviously, other than the goal. But I thought Denor had a really good second half. He won the official man of the match, not for me, but he had a decent game. We make some subs on 68. Bradshaw comes off for Kevin Nisbet, and SA comes on for, I believe it was Watmore. And they do go on to have an impact in the game, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But there was a little bit of pressure on 75 minutes from Plymouth. A couple of corners they had in a row, including a very, very good block from Cooper. Definite goal-bound effort. I think it was from maybe Gibson. I'm not sure. But some good defensive work from Cooper there. I thought the whole back four, by the way, were outstanding. I think you could have given man of the match to any one of them. But I thought they were all outstanding. But I think they're three corners in succession, came to nothing. And then on 83 minutes, we get our goal. So It's a long throw from Ryan Leonard. The ball gets recycled. Comes to Danny Mack. He plays I think it's Danny Mack. He plays a lofted ball over to Ryan Leonard. Ryan Leonard controls it superbly. Plays in Longman. Longman finds Tanganga. Tanganga then plays it back to Leonard. Leonard, 1 foot out of his feet, whips in a perfect ball to the back post. And this is an outstanding header, by the way. Cooper, brilliant header. He's one-on-one with the defender, beats the defender in terms of physicality, and he heads it, and he uses the pace of the ball really well to head it back past the goalkeeper, looping header, keeper no chance, 1-0 up, super finish, and the Den erupts, knowing that, you know, this could be, as I say, 5 out of 6 wins at the Den. It's just, the turnaround is remarkable. And then there was only one other chance really created in the game, and that's from us. Some really nice play from Esse. He sort of flicks it over his head, gets into the penalty box and shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Nisbet actually does his nut, because if you have a look, Nisbet is open. If he had squared it, I think it makes it 2-0. But given the position that Esse got himself into, I don't think you can blame him for taking that on. And we see the game out. And I think it was 5 minutes of adding on time, but we see the game out and we win 1-0. For me, as I said, I don't think it was the best game. It's never going to go down in history as a fantastic one, but it's another clean sheet. You know, is that 3 clean sheets in a row? No, Cardiff scored, didn't they? You know, but another clean sheet. And another interesting fact, I've mentioned this before on this show, but the only team we've beaten when we've had more than 50% possession has been Rotherham since February 23 in 14 months. It's the only team we've beaten until yesterday. We had 58% possession, and obviously we won the game 1-0. And how nice is it to not be in this scrappy relegation battle now next week? You know, Huddersfield are basically down now. But it looks like it's going to be one of Birmingham or Plymouth. You know, Blackburn in theory could still get sucked in, but it's all to play for. And knowing that Hull can still get in the playoffs, it's not going to be easy for Plymouth. And if Plymouth go down with 48 points, although we would have been safe with 50, that's a lot of points to go down with, isn't it? Speaking of points, as I said, we're now 9 points off the relegation zone. If we win next week and results go our way, we can actually finish 13th, which is just remarkable, really. I don't think we will. I think Swansea are trying to finish the season strong. They got a point at Norwich yesterday. I will be surprised if we win next week. I'm not too bothered. I won't be going. I was going to go if we needed to get something, but we don't. So I won't be going. But if we extrapolated our 1.91 points per game, which Harris has accumulated from his 12 games in charge, we would be on 88 points for the season, which is a top 3 finish in most seasons. In some seasons, it gets you in the top 2. It's just, the man has done remarkably well. And yesterday, he made it all about the players, about Bart, about Leonard. He came out, clapped, but he didn't, you know, he could easily, and quite rightly, could have made it all about him yesterday, and he didn't. And I think that's the mark of a man. I've read some quotes saying he's got 1 transfer window, and I don't know how to read into that. But we're going to do a separate show on this, and I'm going to talk about what we're going to do 3 shows over the summer. So the first one's going to be a roundtable. I've had quite a few people message me for that, so we've got plenty of people that will join that. So that's going to be good. We'll just be discussing the season overall. I'm then going to do a show about what I think we need to progress to, you know, in terms of the transfer window. And then I'm going to do another one, which is a little bit more detailed on how I would rank the progress of the club overall from top to bottom, going literally from top as in the boardroom all the way down to the outcomes on the pitch. So we're going to do some shows. We've got some really exciting bits and bobs coming up over the summer and next season. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. And as I said yesterday, I got the opportunity to speak to a few of you, and I spoke to two fellas called Rob actually. So it was good to talk to both of you gents, and it's great, honestly, like to chat to you and get your opinions and tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Do this for fun. Mickey always reminds me that I started doing this about 18 months ago, and it was a 3-minute video outside the pub when I was half pissed after the game, and it's evolved to this now. So yeah, again, and it's only done that because of everyone that listens to it. So seriously, thank you very, very much for that. But in terms of Harris, he has to remain in charge next season. Like, he's just done such an incredible job. And if we can maintain the home form and then, you know, pick the odd result up away from home, there's no reason we can't be successful next year. I think that you're smoking something if you think, whilst we've done very well this year, if you think we're genuinely going to be playoff contenders next season, I personally don't see it, because I think that the amount of change that's going to happen from a playing personnel perspective, we're going to have to. It's going to take a lot of time. You don't want to change too much too soon, but there is also a desire to evolve the playing style, to evolve the average age of the squad. But you've got to treat it very carefully so that you don't jeopardise results. It's going to be a very fine balance, and for me, Harris has my absolute utmost support in doing so. So I look forward to seeing what happens in the summer. I would absolutely love to sign. I've already talked about Obafemi. Not going to happen. I would love to sign Tanganga. Personally, don't think we're going to be able to afford him, because I think he's on a lot of wages. But if there's a deal that could be done, I would personally take him over Charlie Cresswell. I know a lot of people have said Cresswell, and I think a lot of that is just justification based on his age and his potential. But there's no reason to suggest that he would ever actually reach those heights. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but I would rather take someone that I think is already at that level and could have a lot of resale value in Tanganga, because he's still only sort of 25. So I would love to sign either of them. We definitely need a centre back if we think Hutch is going to go. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to quite afford Tanganga. But let's see. Who knows? And I would sign Ryan Longman. I said this a few weeks ago. Not everyone agreed with me. But he was good yesterday. He works his absolute socks off. And I feel like he started to add a final product to it. He can play either side of the wing. He can play in a lot of different places. He's direct. He's quick. He's 23. He's a fleg. He can use both feet. He's not outstanding, but we're not going to sign outstanding, are we? Let's be real. But if we can get him for under £500,000, I can't see how Hull would want him. I would sign him all day long. So excuse the pun. So let's see what happens there. What else did I want to mention? I'll come on to player ratings in a moment. Nice to obviously give Bart the send-off yesterday. Massive thanks to him for all he's done for the club. He's sort of been, a bit of a legend at both Ipswich and Millwall now, and I think that's the mark of the man. So I believe his family are in Spain, so I expect to see him probably pop up somewhere there. So good luck to him. I think we'll definitely need another number 2 in the summer. The pitch at the end. Listen, each to their own. I personally don't understand it. I don't get in a nothing game running on the pitch. But look, everyone's got a different opinion. That's just mine. That's why football's a game of opinions. But I personally don't understand it. If we'd have survived relegation yesterday, or we'd have got in the playoffs or something, then totally. Maybe for little kids, I understand. Like, just been out slide and celebrate on the pitch, but I just don't get it. But it was nice to then, once the pitch had cleared, for us to be able to give thanks to the players for the efforts, particularly in the last sort of 2-3 months. Because make no mistake about it, we were down following Sheffield Wednesday at home. We really were. So the turnaround is remarkable, and probably to thank certain players that are not going to be there next year. I think a lot of the loan players won't be. I think Brook, unfortunately now, given the style that Harris plays, I don't think he's going to work here. But I think he's a great talent, and he's a really likable character. So I wish him all the best. I personally think we'll probably have to sell Fleming or Essay in the summer. So I wouldn't imagine we'll see both of them down there. So there's going to be a turnover. And as I said, they haven't announced anything on Hutch, but they brought him on. So that's why I think there's something going on there. But We shall see, but it's definitely going to be a big turnover in the summer. And I think, I'm definitely going to do an episode on that, as I say. Anyway, player ratings yesterday. So Sarkic didn't really have to do anything other than that one save, but I thought he was okay. I thought that all of the back four were excellent. From Danny Mack, who, again, they kept swapping wingers and had to deal with different players. I thought he was excellent. Again, acknowledging he's playing that position. I thought Tanganga didn't put foot wrong again. At times, he just looked classy. He really does. He's just... what a player. I would love to sign Tanganga. I'll have a word on Tuesday. I'm going to the end of season, so I'll have a word. I'm sure I can. I'm sure I can convince him not. I thought Cooper was better as well. I thought he had a really good game, throwing himself on the line. He scored the goal. But for man of the match for me, I can't look past Ryan Leonard. I just can't. His overall game was excellent as well. But when you look at the impact on the outcome, the tackle, which for me, in my opinion, he doesn't make that. We go 1-0 down. And then he put the cross in for the goal. So he's impacted it at both ends. You just can't look past him. And I think it's a great way to sum up his overall season. I thought he was outstanding. Denora had a good second half. Saville did what Saville does. Bradshaw worked, but I thought he was ineffective, to be honest. But maybe just needs a bit more game time. Watmore was okay, and I thought Longman worked really hard. I thought Longman was probably our best attacking outlet throughout the game. Fleming was okay. Still not the Fleming of old, but he certainly puts a shift in, and that's one thing I will say about this whole team. Even yesterday, where it could have been quite easy to be on the beach, they weren't. They put a shift in. They really did, and bodies on the line, chasing down everything. It was a good performance against the side, as I say, who picked up results. And we'll see if we'll see them in the Championship next season. Personally, I'd love Plymouth to be in the Championship next season because that will mean either Blackburn or Birmingham go down. So we'll see. Look, we'll leave it there. We will be doing a post-match following Swansea. And then I'm going on holiday for 10 days. So I'll have a bit of time off and then we'll do the round table. As I say, I've got quite a few people interested in doing that. So thank you to those who have already reached out. So look, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Weather's been pants, isn't it? Next weekend it's going to be good and it's a bank holiday weekend, so happy days. But yeah, enjoy the rest of it. As always, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, speak to you again next week. Bye for now.